All right, we are here. Hello, y'all. Welcome. Come on in. It's 2 o'clock on the drop. Turn this down a little bit. You guys know what it is. It's tea time. There you are. Hey guys, come on in. Let me know you're here. Interesting times, isn't it? Woo. Just always take a moment to breathe and come on into the tea room. I have my tea. Drop me an emoji. Let me know where you're from and where you're drinking. And hey, Jessica with the Y. You know what? This is a tea. I didn't post my sip of inspiration yet, but this tea is actually gonna change colors, y'all. So I'm gonna put a little lime in here. Who else is here? Can you see that? It's gonna start changing in a second. Hello, Miss Audrey Harris. We got I do not own the rights to this music. I think I'm supposed to say that, I don't know. But we're just gonna take another minute, let everybody come on in. Hopefully you guys found it okay. Ooh, and it's hot. Okay. All righty, folks. What you sipping on? Let me know. I'm drinking some pea butterfly tea. As you know, butterfly is all about transformation. So that sounds appropriate right about now. We're gonna go ahead and get started with our topic for today, which is your mission doesn't need permission. And this conversation today is really going to be about liberation on a personal level and a collective level. And as I was starting to think about it, you guys dropped me some comments. Let me know. Hey, K. Marie. Hey, James. Honeybush tea. That's what my cousin is drinking. Hello, fam. So let's get back to the topic at hand. Permission, y'all. What does that mean to you? What are you waiting for? What am I waiting for? So let's get down to it. As I was thinking about the topic that we're discussing, I started to realize that right now we have to give ourselves permission to get still and get real. Like no holds bar, what we stand for, what we're here for, our divine purpose on this planet as a people, as a culture, and as an individual. So as I was reflecting on that, I was thinking about our own internal Siri, you know, our own navigational system, our own GPS. And let me get an amen if you feel me on that in the comments. And as we know, GPS is all about the global positioning system. So no matter where you are in the world, on the globe, it can identify you. And I think what's really hitting me with that is that our GPS, our internal GPS, is our grand purpose system, okay? Your whole system, your whole experience, your beliefs, your ideas, the triumphs, the challenges, is our whole grand purpose. And no matter where we are in the world, we occupy a certain space that is undeniable, it's immutable, it can't be repeated. And so right now is really about accessing that in a really deep way as a collective, as a people, and as an individual. And I was also thinking about this idea, permission is about authority, right? So it's really about that inner authority. And I think we all come with our own pre-authorization codes, right? I'm not talking about the credit card that pre-authorizes you or a loan. I'm talking about your own internal pre-authorization. And we really are in a stage now where we're stepping to the forefront, where we're authorizing ourselves. I don't need your validation. I don't need your permission, which is really an opening and allowing. And so we are coming into a space collectively as Black people, as people of color, and just as humans on a global planetary level. And I think we're doing it individually. So that's really what I wanted to have a conversation about with you guys today. Let me check hi, William, I see you here. And TL Legacy, all right. And I have a very, very special guest and a special treat for you guys a little later that I'll tell you about. But let's stay on task. So how are we choosing to show up in the world? That's what I'm really looking at. And I would love to hear your thoughts on that. So give me some feedback. Like what stand are we taking in our lives with the people that matter to us, with our communities, with our neighbors, with people who look like us and those who don't. So it's really about how are we showing up? And my special guest, Tabitha Brown, who we all know and love, is doing that in a beautiful way. What Tabitha really represents for me is not waiting for permission to live your life the way that you want. Hopefully I spelled that right. Yeah, I did. So she exemplifies that in a really, really powerful way. Tabitha, as we all know, is an actress, mother, fashion designer. She used to make these fabulous skirts. Tab, I'm going to ask you about that when you hop on. She has gone out of the stratosphere with her vegan videos and healthy living lifestyle. She's a TikTok star. She's so much more. She has really come into our hearts and in our homes in a big way, in a massive way, just because she's genuine in heart and spirit. And, you know, Vogue is talking about her, BuzzFeed, New York Times, LA Times. And all that is wonderful. I'm really interested in the inner times of Miss Tabitha Brown and how she is moving in the world, using her platform and using her voice. So with that said, y'all, without further ado, I am going to bring on our wonderful guest, Miss Tabitha Brown. Hey, Tab.
Hey, girl, how you doing?
How are you?
Oh, girl, look at Donna about sideways right there, child. I was
Donna's looking fabulous. This is Donna's cousin back here with the slick back, so don't worry about it. I see chairs back there. I love that painting him. So I'm sipping on some butterfly tea because when I think about you, I think about transformation, and I think about the world and what we're going through right now. I think about transformation. So I thought this would be appropriate. What are you sipping on right now?
Well, actually, I'm sipping on, it was going to be tea, but I walked outside to my husband's man cave and it's 97 degrees. I said, I'm going to put some cold water inside.
I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. Yeah, it's
literally about some hot tea, but it's so hot outside, Jesus.
And you know what? I actually I put ice in here. So I'm cheating a little bit. It's actually cold because you know what? It is hot. I'm breaking out in the sweat. And it's hot in the world right now. There's a lot going on. How are you dealing and processing everything that's happening?
Day by day.
Mm-hmm.
Day by day. Mm-hmm. It has been a hard time for everyone. It's a struggle that is not new. Because of that, it makes it even harder, right? But I always try to keep a positive mindset of believing and knowing that we will get through it.
Yeah.
And that better days are ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think that's important. That, you know, just drawing on the strength of our ancestors alone, they have come through so much.
Oh my God.
DNA, as I talked about just a moment ago, you know, our pre-authorization codes, you know, where we give ourselves our own permission. What's fascinating about your story, Tabitha, is you talk about how you came out here in Los Angeles, like all of us. And for those who don't know, I know Tabitha, when we, you know, in the audition circuit as actresses working on projects with an idea of how your life was going to unfold, but that changed drastically.
Yes, Lord, it changed. Thank God it changed.
Yeah, thank God it changed. And the plan was much bigger than what you had in mind. Am I right about that?
Yeah, it was more than I could have ever imagined. And it did not show up looking like I thought it would look.
So right. Take me through the process. Take me through that. What was the internal shift for you where things started to open up? What did you say to yourself?
Well, you know, things started to change for me when I got sick. I got sick back in 2016. For like a year and a half. And during that time, it was kind of like I got so far down mentally from being so long. I was depressed. I had anxiety. And I had kind of lost hope a little bit. And I thought I was going to die. And I literally got to a place of where I said, you know, I'm exhausted with trying to live life anymore. You know, I really was at that point. And I had to have my coming to Jesus moment, as I call it.
Yes.
In my bathroom, right, where I looked in the mirror and I really was searching for my soul. And if you haven't ever done that, where you've taken time to look into the mirror and see yourself, it's really uncomfortable, right? It's really uncomfortable, especially if you are a bit lost. And at that moment, I was lost. And I had not really been believing anymore in my prayers because I had felt defeated. I didn't think God really heard me anymore. I didn't think I would get better. I didn't think that I would be healed. I really thought, man, he brought me this far just to bring me this far, and this is gonna be it. But in the bathroom, in that day, I had my moment where I truly saw myself for who I was. And I asked God, I told him, if you heal me, God, I'm desperate right now. God, if you heal me, you can have me. And I'll do whatever you ask of me. And in the moment, I released the old Tab. And when I left that bathroom that day, I made a decision that I would just only do it his way. And I'm going to be whoever he created me to be, not the person that I had been trying to create to fit into anything in the world. Not just just anything. I no longer wanted to fit into anything. I just wanted to be who he wanted me to be. And that's when the shift changed for me. And then weeks later, of course, my daughter came home and told me about a documentary, and I watched it and did a 30-day vegan challenge, and my healing began after that. So literally that's when it changed for me, and I will never go back. This is the only Tab you're gonna get unless I'm in character for a movie or a show, honey. This is who you're gonna
Yeah. You know what, Tab? I love that, and it's making me think about where'd it go? It's supposed to be up there. In authority to outer glory. And that really, what I'm hearing you say is letting go of the expectation that society has, that you even had of yourself, showing up a certain way to fit in. And we talked about that, having to have the straight hair as an actress, having to talk a certain way so that other people can feel comfortable. And you really, in your sickness, and all of us, I think, have that, whether it's a health challenge or a financial challenge or a breakup or to a breakthrough, something humbles us to the point where we have to let go and get naked to be reborn into the authentic soul that you came here to express to be. And we see the outer glory, that we see people in their winning season. We don't know what happened in their losing season. We don't know what you had to, shed and go through. So
people often don't see the chains. You see, I'm in free. Now I'm free. But for a long time, I put chains on myself because I was not willing to be free. I thought I had to, somebody else wanted me to do, or what society wanted me to do in order to make it, whatever making it means. I don't even know what that means anymore. Okay.
It doesn't. And what you're talking about, Tab, what we're talking about is what's happening on a global level. It's happening with our people, that we are no longer willing to negotiate ourselves in this world to make other people comfortable. We are who we are. You are who you are. I'm showing up. We got a lot of comments here, so I want to make sure I get you guys this time because I couldn't. Kalila Joy, one of my besties, along with Audrey, said, "Love that." Love it too. Hey, Kalila.
I forgot to.
Can you see some stuff too? Yeah, you can see them too. And
so because it's live right now, right? On your Facebook.
Yeah, it's live right now.
So
we're live right now. Talk to the folks. Let them know.
Absolutely. As well.
Now, Jessica said, the challenges of rock bottom moments are sometimes necessary to make the changes you will call for. I think they're absolutely necessary. You're so on point with that. So on point with that.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Questions for Tabitha? Hi, Diane. I see you here. Go ahead and drop it in the comments. So
yes.
So tell me more about that. So that has to have been scary, and just going with the theme of a butterfly and transformation, coming out of the cocoon, doesn't yet know how to fly. What were some of the things that you told yourself or that you did to fortify so that you could step out in the world and have this voice that you basically have, this big platform?
You know, the thing was, every day I had to reteach myself that I was every day, girl, you enough. Your self-talk game got to be strong. And so literally every day, I did the big chop, right? And I had very long hair that was natural, but I always pressed it one way. But when I did the big chop, it was part of my freedom, right? Because I had did it years ago in college, and it was so different back then. And then somewhere I lost my way then, right? And I started to literally have to start talking to myself every day. Girl, You are perfect.
Girl.
You got to, honey. You have got to have a good self-talk.
Yes.
And you'll be surprised at how many people don't talk to themselves like that. They just walk around looking for validation from somewhere else, but it got to start.
Yeah.
And so I just started validating myself on a daily, hourly, minute basis. And I just remind myself, anytime I would start to slip mentally into the old mind frame, I would just remind myself that there's no winning in that space. That's not who God, chose me or purposed me to be. This is who I am, and you are enough, and you are free. And just every day to walk into that space, I'm free, honey. I'm so free, and I love it. I love it. But that's how I started.
And we love it too, because I always say that just in terms of talking to yourself, that your talk path is going to influence your walk path. You can't be walking north when you're trying to, talking north when you're trying to go south. So whether we say it out loud or not, when I'm a big advocate of it, I do mirror work. So I'll be up in the mirror and say, Caryn, you are fabulous. You are amazing. And qualities that are internal, not so much the external, because that changes. You know what I'm saying? The hair will come and go. We're going to lose weight. It's really those qualities that are changeless and timeless and boundless that we were inevitably endowed with when we came to this earth, our own pre-authorization codes. I don't need another race, another person, another relationship to validate that. And I think it's so important to, to talk to yourself. So the lesson, y'all, is talk to yourself. See what's happening in the comments. Who else is talking to them? Audrey Harris said, gotta tell those negative thoughts that they are a lie. Absolutely.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. Because, the biggest holdback for most of us is our mind, right? That's what holds most of us back. It ain't people. It's convinced ourselves. What we have ourselves to believe or think. That's what holds us back a lot of times from what God has for us. And he just be up there waiting on us he just be waiting on us. He's like, I'm waiting on you to realize I gave you every single thing that you need. Every single thing that you need to be successful, to survive. I'm giving it to you. The moment that you get that, your whole life. The moment I got that, my entire life changed.
I love that, Tabitha. I love that. Say it again. Say it again for the folks in the back. Say it again. Because, go ahead. Go ahead.
He gave us every single thing that we need. It lives inside of us. It lives inside of us. The moment that we get that, the moment that we know everything we need to survive in this world, everything that we need to be successful lives inside. Honey, our life changes. It literally
cannot, because the world didn't give it to you, so the world can't take it away. That's what it's about. Now, to that point, in terms of, this is why I started off this conversation about giving ourselves permission to get still and get real, because that's that soul searching. That's the whole point of MediTEAtions. You know what I'm saying? Is inner reflection, because our outer world mirrors our inner world. You know what I'm saying? So what you got going on in consciousness, in your talk path, how you're feeling about yourself, you can look to your external circumstances to get evidence of what you're believing and thinking. So we try to look in the mirror and change the reflection in the mirror when the change has got to happen all up in here. So that's really what, and I'm speaking to myself, y'all. Y'all just happen to be a part of the conversation. But I wanted to open this up because I think we got to feed our minds and our spirit. It's not just what you put in your body. It's what you're, the thoughts that you're chewing on that are going to really influence and impact the life that you're living. Let's see if we got some more questions or comments. Hi, Sharice, Henry Lamb, and Idol's mom. She said, it's a good comment. She said,
"Devil's working."
Yeah, I'm not seeing on my end. Do you see it?
Yeah, I see it. Mine is the devil's work, so we better speak it into before he does. Yeah.
And hey, saying something. If you guys have more questions, Akachi said, got to stay focused.
Yes.
And keep breaking cycles, which is interesting because right now we are breaking a huge generational, centuries-old cycle that we all have been influenced and impacted and living under. And so I feel like as we individually wake up, like what you were talking about, Tab, and embrace who we are, that's how we change the collective. That's how we change the culture.
Yeah, and we can't be afraid of that. You know, a lot of people are afraid of it because they think they might lose something if they speak up about being free or about being right. Right? You have to get rid of the fear of, well, what if I do speak up? And so if you're right, you're right. And the other, you gotta remember that what God has for us is for us, and it can't nothing stop it. Can't nothing stop it. It's already perfect in your life, right? So speak up and be your true self, be your true voice. Let that out, whatever that thing be. Absolutely, we don't need permission.
So, right. So that's my question for all of us. Are you waiting for something? Is there something in your life that you've been desiring of the hearts? Because I really do believe that they're placed in our heart, not just for us, but for our global positioning system, our grand purpose system. There's a grand purpose for why you're here, why I'm here. And it's our job and our obligation and our opportunity to be living, breathing, to research and to dig deep and to find it. You know what I mean? Like that's what it's about. It's about getting still and getting real. You know what I mean? Yeah. Who else is here on the Christy Ferris is here. Hey, CP. Oh, did I lose you there? You definitely have to learn to speak up. Yes. So what does that mean for you? And Tab, because I know things have really expanded for you in a wonderful way. You have a great platform. Where's there still some struggle? And I'll share some of mine. So I'll share some of my struggle. You share some of yours. Just so that people don't feel so alone. I think this is a time of authenticity and being open so that we can all learn and heal from each other. You know what I mean? So
struggle in what way you?
Just like I know you're honing your voice. You have your voice and you're speaking up. Is there any area? Maybe there isn't. Are there areas where you're still having to do that self-talk to say, you know what, you got this, girl. You can handle it.
I mean, I do self-talk anyway. I have so much going on, right? And although I've been pursuing a career in entertainment since 1998, for 22 years pursuing, and my dreams are just now starting to come true.
Yes,
bigger than I could have ever imagined, right? So my struggle sometimes is having to remind myself when I'm in these rooms or in these Zooms now, studios or these people, that I'm supposed to be there.
Yes.
I deserve it, and I'm supposed to be here. So whenever I have that for a millisecond of a thought that says, wait a minute, this is a little bit too big for me, the other side of me say, oh, girl, no, it's not, honey. You're supposed to be here. You're supposed to. And I have to remind myself that I've earned the right to be exactly where I am. And this was also God's plan for my life. To continue to walk it my way and his way.
Your way. And don't you think it's interesting just to take that statement, I deserve to be here, which I'm gonna have to make a banner and throw that up here, and apply that on a global level in terms of Black and brown people, that we are basically affirmation of we have a right to be here, we have a right to live, we have a right to breathe. And not one bad or wrong, I'm not interested in that, but I am just speaking facts in terms of on a macro level and then on a micro level, about giving yourself permission to occupy spaces where you may have told yourself you can't be here. So I really appreciate that. I really
and the other part of Caryn is, it's not that we told ourselves for all these years that we deserve to be there, but we're told and conditioned and programmed that we didn't deserve to be there. So, I worked in corporate America for years and was told I didn't deserve to be in certain places in companies, right? And so there's a continuance of programming that happens where we have to deprogram ourselves to say, oh, wait a minute, I do deserve to be here. I absolutely. So a lot of times we beat ourselves up on making ourselves think that we aren't good enough. But we also have to look at the side of that. We were programmed to think we weren't good enough in so many ways, indirectly, so that we have to make sure, oh, wait, yes, we are good enough. And I am supposed to be here. It just goes back to knowing that you are enough.
Right. Absolutely. And there's a video that you have on on your Instagram page where you talk about that, really embracing this idea that you are more than enough.
Yeah.
And somebody's made a comment here that I want to address. Lauren is saying, gotta say,
oh, why not?
My computer's doing. Can y'all see that? Gotta say to yourself, why not me? Sometimes, absolutely. Why not me? I was just having that conversation with someone that we often say to ourselves, well, who am I to do this? Who are you not to do it? You know what I mean? This is part of your grand purpose system of why you're here. And so let me see what's one. Get some more of the comments here. What's Biko saying? We have to check and self-check our heart, mind, and soul. We must ask, how are we doing and how are we feeling? Yes, that's so important. Self. Yes. Now, Tabitha has a very full schedule, and she has, given us this wonderful, juicy sip of inspiration. I know we have to let you go in a little bit, so I want to encourage you guys, if you have any comments or questions for her, go ahead and drop them in the comments, because she will have to leave soon. And I have a very special guest, the Reverend Kev, who is a dynamic force, who's going to be joining me after you, Tab, and I'm bring him on. Who's coming up now, who is going to give us a powerful word on how to move through what we're going through collectively, so that we have that inner liberation to produce that outer freedom that we're all seeking and expressing and calling forth. But before we do that, like I said, if there's some comments or questions for Tab, go ahead and put them in. Tab, I want to ask you something really quickly while the comments are coming in. Yes. You posted when you reached 1 million followers, which is incredible, because that to me is just reflective of your energy, your GPS system broadcast into the world. But you said that you prayed for this, and you were outside of Macy's walking around, I think it's CAA, right? One of the big agencies. Yes, at the time. Wanting that, and now you have it. So talk to us about that. Talk to us about seeing it, mentally rehearsing it before it actually comes into your life.
The power of the tongue is real, right? Mind. What we speak and what we believe, I truly believe God places it there, and we can have those things, but we got to truly believe it, right? But when I first moved, I worked at Macy's in Century City for 5 years, almost 5 years. And on my lunch breaks, I would walk around, and I would walk by CAA, and I would say, "Oh God, one day, God."
Yes.
There was just always something about CAA that would just call my spirit. And, when I would go there for events, because I think I probably went to like maybe 4 screenings or, parties or whatever. And when I would get the elevator, and I would just touch the walls, and I would say, "Oh God, this feels like home, Lord. One day, God." And I didn't care who was in there, who was in the elevator. I just touch it like, "Oh yes." And and I didn't have to go to them. I always said they'll come for me. I used to tell my husband all the time, when it is my time, because my mother always, she told me before she passed away, she said, God showed me what he's going to do in your life. And she said, when it happens, 2 things will happen. She said, one, before any of it happens, you will have had a son first. And this was years before I ever had a son. And I didn't think I was having kids. And she said, and this thing, you'll know when it's happening, because you won't have had to do anything but answer your phone and say yes. And literally, that's all I've had to do, is answer my phone and say yes. That's literally it. And it is mind-blowing. But I'm so very grateful. I'm so thankful that God has chosen me for this moment. And I'm serious, which is why, I am so careful with what I put out, because it's a responsibility. When God blesses you with a platform, you must put things out that are worth seeing and hearing, and also things that make people feel something. And I want people to feel loved and heard when they come on my platform. So that's definitely, how I feel about all of it.
I love that, Tab. I know we're winding down. What I want people to know about you on a personal level, part of your blessing, in my opinion, is because this is part of your path and what you're here to do. But you have such an authenticity and pureness in heart and spirit. I can go back to text messages from us from 2014, y'all, when this is the type of person Tabitha is, that just random text out the blue, just checking in, sending me love and positivity. And it's a lot of them. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, like it long before the world saw it, you were it. And I think that's what we all have to walk away with, that we have to become it and see it and walk it and speak it long before it exists in the world. We're doing that now collectively, and we're doing that individually in terms of our freedom, our right to be here, and delivering our gifts in the ways that only we can. So I appreciate you. I appreciate the gift that you are, the friend that you've been. And hey, Clarissa, you're here. All right, y'all, you guys got about 30 more seconds to ask Ms. Tabitha Brown anything you want to ask. Then do you see some comments? You see something there?
I just see comments, questions.
It's hi, Clarissa. Hey, we're getting deep conversation because that's your business. I love that. Y'all know that that's our phrase. So, is there anything you want to share with people before you you head off?
I mean, I don't really. I'm thankful to you for you using your platform and bringing me on. I appreciate you for thinking of me to do this. And I'm very proud of you for doing something that's out of your norm. That's what you're doing, Yes. Talk show when you are an amazing, accomplished actress. And so for you to do this is amazing. I'm very proud of you.
And it's inspired by you. Please know that you living your truth and authenticity, Tab, has given me permission to do that. So I'm hugely inspired by you. And that is my plan and hope, that I can inspire others. And that we each do that we be the spark and flame that lights another soul on fire. Because that's what this is all about, y'all. We all in this together. You know what I'm saying?
What good is a platform if we don't use it for the good of people? And that's the thing I would like to leave everyone with. If you have a platform, no matter if it's one person or millions of people, you have it for a reason. And if you have it and you don't use it for the good of people, the good of humanity, then what good is it to have a platform? And that's it. Honey, look, and go on about your business, baby. Have yourself a good day. But even if you can't have a good one, don't you dare go mess with nobody else.
That's what everybody else. I love that. I think we're all having a wonderful day because of you, Tab. Thank you. I love you. Y'all stay on. I have Reverend Kev. I'll see you soon, Tab. You guys go ahead and follow. Bye. Drop some love her way. Okay, bye-bye. So I have the wonderful Reverend Kev. There you are.
Hello.
Can you hear? Can you hear?
I can hear you.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Thank you. So I know I can. I can hear you.
Fantastic.
Yep. So I know you were backstage with the conversation. So give it to me, Reverend Kev. And I need to let you, first of all, let the good people know where you're from, how they can find you and follow you. Reverend Kev just, last minute was gracious enough to come on and help us kind of move through the times that we're in. So go ahead and connect with the people.
First of all, thanks for having me, and thanks for all of you who are connecting with this powerful MediTEAtions. I love that. I am an avid tea drinker, so I'm sipping my Georgia peach tea and my lemon, a mint blend with it. So I drink tea all day long.
Nice.
And
yes.
I've got my Sea Beyond Limits cup, because that's this moment is calling for.
I love that.
I'm Rev Kev. My name is Kevin Cottrell Ross. My friends call me Rev Kev, and so can you. And for the last 20 years or more, I've been on a mission to inspire and empower everyday people to live extraordinary dreams through the context of freedom, love, and joy. And I'm based here in Sacramento, California. I'm the senior minister and spiritual director of Unity of Sacramento International Spiritual Center. We are affiliates with Agape International Spiritual Center in Beverly Hills, California now.
Right.
And our stand here is to co-create a world of peace, prosperity, and unconditional love for all. And my work is deeply entrenched in the service of leading in these very difficult times as interfaith social justice activists with groups from all faith backgrounds, engaging people in courageous conversations that need to occur at this particular time in human history in order to press open the doors for our collective freedom at this particular time. And so I can be found at unityofsacramento.com, on Facebook at RevKevK, on Instagram at RevKevK, and then KevinRossInspires.com.
So, Reverend Kev, and I will post that also, because I said this was impromptu, and really appreciate you being here. You and I were having a conversation about this notion of freedom, and as Tabitha was talking about, everyone using their platform. Can you just share with us again what we talked about in terms of now being the time to accessing our unabashed freedom? Just going for it.
Jill Scott says, I'm taking back my freedom. I'm taking it off the shelf. Right now, in this moment that we are living inside of is a moment where those who have lived under a centuries of oppression have reached a boiling point where they can no longer participate in their oppression. And part of the ways in which we have been socialized to participate in that oppression is by holding on to the bitter taste of the effects of racism and discrimination and public humiliation of our people. And so we've learned how to adapt. We've learned how to swallow back the venomous poison of processes that we have faced in order to advance in society, in order to make progress individually, and in order to not offend people who are of the majority class, our white brothers and sisters. And so we've learned how to make accommodations by behaving in a certain way. But this moment is about being able to articulate our truth and our pain as a collective, to spew out the venom that from the corrosive effects of racism that lives inside of our souls, that have caused us to move through our society half free, half fully spoken, half fully expressed. It's so important right now that people like Caryn and I and you start speaking the butt naked truth about the way it is, so that there can be a great awakening. There can be a great awakening on behalf of those who say that they are allies and friends, and our white brothers and sisters who want to move forward in this moment. You see, I cannot be free if you're not free. So I need to be free. I need all of my white brothers and sisters right now to give yourself a little bit of a layering over of thick skin, so that Black people and people of color in this moment can fully express the impact of their pain. And once and for all, as a collective, you can look upon each of us as your equals. I don't want you to sympathize and feel sorry. I want you to allow yourself to make room for your Black brothers and sisters, your beloveds from different backgrounds who are people of color in this country. I want you to make room for their full humanity to be expressed in a moment where unparalleled, unprecedented witness of racialized violence and trauma is occurring. We need to be able to call in Black. Maybe I can't come to work. If you're a supervisor, you know what? I'm gonna let you stay at home. I know you are going through it. I'm not gonna allow the workplace to be another place in which you have to suppress something that's so horrific. And so one of the ways in which we can show our compassion is by really being in tune with the deep pain, the deep woundedness, and allowing people to speak freely and express themselves without all the retaliation and the sensitivities and the stuff that keeps us swallowing the poison.
I'm hearing echo.
You hearing an echo?
Do you guys hear echo? Uh-oh.
Mm-mm. but I'll turn my volume down if that helps on this side. Okay.
Okay. So, still, everybody can hear me okay?
I can.
Okay.
You're perfect.
Okay, perfect. We're good. So Lauren is saying it's so overwhelming sometimes. We're fighting tears and having to show up to work. Yes, we are. What's coming to me is resiliency and perseverance and drawing on, and you spoke about this with Reverend Michael Beckwith about our ancestral energy, you know what I'm saying? Like really diving into in our DNA codes, the way to move through this. So what do you offer for those of us who are struggling and fighting tears and trying to grant our own mission to exist?
Don't fight your tears. I think that's a part of it. Show your tears. Show it. This is a season to show it. You know, this, and we're all in some way, shape, or form. We've all been traumatized by what we have witnessed. The whole world is aching after the witness of the most inhumane public recording by some powerful cell phone activist who took the chance with his life in order to capture that moment. We're all in tears. Bring those tears to work and find out who your friends are. Find out who your allies are. If they are willing to show that compassion, if they're willing to let you lean on them at this particular time. You need to know who you're standing with and who's standing with you. And we need to start to this true and authentic showing up. This true and authentic showing up in this moment will start to shift the places and spaces where we are invested, our workplaces, our schools, our guiding institutions. So this is not the time to suppress. This is the time to express. And part of that may be that for your own mental health, you know, you may have to call in and say, I can't come in right now. If you want the best, I need a 24-hour mental health break because this is traumatizing me. And there are organizations that exist. We co-founded a group here where we brought together mental health practitioners as well as faith leaders to create what was called Safe Black Space. And Safe Black Space is an environment for individuals of African descent, African American descent, and African descent actually, who may be experiencing racialized trauma. In our case, it started with, you know, Joseph Mann and Stephon Clark and those attacks, and it continues on, and it has flourished all around the state of California, bringing together faith leaders and mental health practitioners to allow a space where you would be able to come and sit and be completely yourself and express what's going on and be moved through a process that's very much African-centered. Okay, there's an African-centered approach. You hear the drummings, the libations. You hear it's a safe space for you to completely be and engage in your healing while having to, you know, get back out there for some of us on the front lines as activists working to dismantle these systems. For some of us going back to work where there's oppressive policies, those that are in faith communities that still won't recognize and speak loudly, name the racism of our times, and just we're going back to life with business as usual. And so Safe Black Space has a website, and now because of COVID-19, we're having virtual Safe Black Space for people to be able to plug in. And I think the website is safeblackspace.org.
Okay, I'm gonna put that in for the folks. Still hear on my end.
You're doing great. I can hear you perfectly.
Hopefully it's okay. Is it okay?
You're perfect.
Okay. So, Rev Kev, can you guide us on the interpersonal level? Like, what are some of the things that we can do personally to activate and to, like you said, express the feelings, the emotions that are happening right now, so as to help be an opening, if you will, to our own liberation as we seek to have that out in the world?
Well, I think one very simple practice is continue to breathe. Continue to breathe. Become consciously aware of your breath and find moments and places or spaces to actually breathe. When you're viewing and seeing and hearing, when your sensorium is filled with information that traumatizes and stresses you, there's a contraction that takes place in this area where the lungs are, and you start to lose the breath. And of course, in order for us to move forward, we have to constantly be in possession and repossession of the breath. Possession and repossession of the breath. Feeling like you have complete and total control over your breathing. COVID-19 has impacted the breathing, attacking the lungs, right? This is a respiratory issue that's causing us to lose the breath. We witnessed the horrific murder of George Floyd, which took the breath. And so one simple thing that you can manage is, I can't manage to handle the entire future. That will cause anxiety. If you're trying to figure it all out for the whole future in this present moment, you're going to create anxiety for yourself. I cannot erase the atrocities from the past. So what can I do? In this moment, I can breathe and I can take it moment by moment. So that's a simple practice I can do at home. I can continue to possess and repossess the breath. And I want to do this on behalf of all of our untimely ancestors who were created as ancestors through racialized violence. I want to be grateful that I can still breathe and then engage at the level of my giftedness, engage at the level of my purpose and my prompting, engage at the level of my willingness. In this cross-country, long-distance, intergenerational relay race.
Yes. Oh, say it again, Rev. Come on now.
This cross-country, long-distance, intergenerational relay race. And then in my silence, I want to ask the presence, what is mine to do? And when you're in possession of the breath, and when you're fully present, and when you have managed to find a place and space for the stillness, you will receive an idea, you will receive an inspiration. And it's not going to look like the next person's. Maybe you will not be out front like me and others leading demonstrations and putting life on the line. That may not be yours to do. But maybe you're going to be in a quiet room and you're going to make sure that those demonstrators who need legal aid you're going to be the one in touch with the National Lawyers Guild, making sure demonstrators are receiving the legal aid that they need. Maybe you're going to be a strategist in behind the scenes in this conversation. Maybe you're going to impress upon your supervisor or the owner of the business where you work to acknowledge what's going on in some significant way, such that the policies around diversity and inclusion, right, are not just ornamental to the operation. They are making significant responses and efforts toward changing in meaningful ways. And so it doesn't look all the same. I call it the beehive approach. If you look at bees going in and out of the hive, they're coming in from all sides. That this system that has oppressed Black people in the United States has also oppressed whites, because whites and those who are under the illusion that because of their skin color that they're somehow superior can never truly have authentic relationship and with others. If I truly feel that somehow you can never be where I am. And so this whole thing is to be attacked from all sides, such that it coagulates any opportunity for it to defend its erroneous position.
I'm taking a moment because I'm really taking in what you're saying, and we're bearing witness to something that is hugely transformational and profound and unprecedented.
Yes.
Going to COVID in the breath, and literally the one thing that connects us all, no matter what your hue or where you occupy space in the world, it's the breath. Yes. And Akachi Lamb, who is a dear friend of mine and a man of true wisdom and depth, is saying, we are the sacrificial lambs of our generation, making the sacrifice to realign your lineage, which is interesting. What are your thoughts on that in terms of our lineage as a people,
yes,
in the diaspora, and then as a race, as a human race?
I think at this particular time, what is different about now than was in the early 60s and some previous movements is that we're more connected than ever before, and more Black and white people have come to belong to each other. We hold people in our hearts in significant ways. This present generation has found each other, and they're mobilizing on behalf of each other. And so the sacrifice is really ideological. At this present time, we are having an ideological sacrifice of an ideal that says it's all about me, versus the embracing of this larger ideal that it's we.
So it's all about we. Yes, yes.
Versus I think therefore I am. We are evolving past I think therefore I am, and this rugged individualistic idea, I got mine, you get yours, pull yourself by your own bootstraps, and that old westernized philosophical construct that is rooted in the values of competition over cooperation. We're sacrificing that. We're sacrificing that old ideal, and we're elevating into this higher ideal, one that says, I am because we are, and because we are, therefore I am. As Dr. King articulated in his letter from Birmingham City Jail, he talked about the fact that we are bound in a web of mutuality. We are clothed in a single garment of destiny. This idea brings up values that are very distinct and different from the ones. And so we have to put those individualistic, selfish values on the altar of sacrifice, and then embrace these higher ideals of the greater good for all concerned, co-creating a world that works for all. We don't want to make we don't want to create a better world, because better is always subjective. Better leaves others out. Better to whom? Better to white supremacists? See, creating a better world for white supremacists widens the wealth gap, does it not? Widens the wealth. A better world is not the paradigm that we want, because it's all competitive. But co-creating a world that works for all, that coin was termed by Sharif Abdullah. Co-creating a world works for all is inclusive, and it is integrated in the highest sense, and it's the values of Ubuntu, this concept from South Africa. And so that's what needs to be sacrificed.
Interestingly, what our ancestor Reverend Mandela used Ubuntu, the concept of forgiveness. Is it too soon for forgiveness? Are we at that place yet? Do we need to honor where we are and deal with the pain and the mess and the hurt and the rawness? Or what are your thoughts on that?
By the way, one of the great joys of my life is actually having the opportunity to meet President Mandela in 1999. And in his beautiful eyes. And Reverend Michael and I shared that experience together with faith leaders from around the world, Parliament of the World's Religions. And I looked into his eyes after having spent 27 years in prison fighting for the liberation of people in South Africa. And my distinct feeling in looking in his eyes and witnessing the soft eye that he had. His eye not dim. His eyes were not dim. No, it is never too early to forgive. But let's be clear. This is a protest, not a parade. We are consciously aware that in order to change,
that was so profound, Rev. Say it again, please. This is not a protest,
not a parade.
Yes.
So that the spirit of what's happening is not one where we're going out with floats and cotton candy and high-fiving each other along the way. We are consciously engaged in a rebellion against a system that has oppressed us for hundreds of years. And so if you are thinking that in this moment that you want to embrace some of the bright spots along the way and think that it's over, right? So we're seeing images, that beautiful images of law enforcement officers taking a knee. Beautiful. Yes. We're seeing demonstrators hugging law enforcement officers and law enforcement officers hugging demonstrators. Beautiful. But this is about freedom, not friendship. This is about freedom, not friendship. So along the way, the object is everybody's freedom, the liberation, the freedom of our people. And so let's not have a high moment and think that we have unseated a system that has self-perpetuated for generations. We're not we're not here just for George Floyd. We're still mourning Emmett Till, who never received justice. You get what I'm saying? So this is a.
And Ben and Jerry spoke to that, Rev, and I wish I had the clip. If you guys get a chance, look at the tweet from the company Ben and Jerry Ice Cream, and they talk about that this is for the Trayvons and for the Floyds and for the Emmett Tills, but it's more than that. It's for the names we don't know, for the ones that weren't recorded, for the souls lost in the
transatlantic, those that have died, whose bodies are fertilizer for the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. Let's recognize. So if you have a sweet moment, because there's something beautiful about being caught up in a sea of humanity, and I love what I'm seeing in this present movement. It is an intercultural, intergenerational movement of people from all races and hues and colors. And for many, it's their first point entering into this conversation toward freedom, this journey toward freedom. Please know you're not attending a parade. You are participating in a rebellion that is the primary obstacle to freedom of the entire human household. Because as the United States goes, so goes the world. You see? And I think that if we're going to be distributing anything from these United States that can be an inspiration to the world, is to show our resolve in this moment, and be unrelenting in our commitment to deconstructing and dismantling and disrupting all forms of racism, discrimination, and policies and practices and false relationships that are rooted in keeping individuals oppressed. We're outgrowing this. We are absolutely outgrowing. And what I'm seeing is this spontaneous combustion of human courage that's happening right now. This spontaneous combustion of human courage to take to the streets in an unprecedented way is the tipping point in our evolutionary process as humans on this planet. And that's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm seeing.
I think we all are seeing and feeling that, even if we don't have the language to articulate it. Last week, I spoke to my guest, Tammy Mack, and I talked about being a distribution site of freedom. Distribution site of inspiration, that we all are our own individual distribution sites. And what you're talking about, what I'm hearing on a collective level with the United States of America, United States of freedom, that we can be that distribution side of freedom, mirroring what's possible for the rest of the world, so that Black and brown peoples and all oppressed peoples, whether it's your sexual orientation or wherever you're oppressed and marginalized, that we open up a consciousness and a space for the full flowering of our humanity. And that's really what this boils down to.
Yes.
That's what these conversations are, personally, interpersonally. Yes. And those are the seeds that would then flower out in the world and shift the type of world that we're co-creating with each other. Yes. So, I'm at a pause, Rev, Kev.
I'm at a pause. And it's so important for our white brothers and sisters in this moment who are feeling a certain kind of way about how to engage, how to move into this place and space. In this moment, embrace what Dr. King said. You only need a heart full of love and a soul generated by grace. And I know you have that. I know we all have that. But especially those who have this feeling of, I don't want to do it wrong. I don't want to be guilty. I don't want to say the wrong thing. I don't want to mess it up. I don't want to be labeled a racist. I don't want to be labeled an in lover, and all of those things that come along with breaking out of what we know to be a dying world that is being hospiced, as Reverend Michael would say, by
I love that.
I call the gladiators of justice. And so you want to come into this Justice League of gladiators who are willing to let their love show up. And it's messy. It's messy work. There's no neat and tidy way to dismantle something that's had reign for 500 years, but it's possible.
I agree. And I'm going to put this up here for us, because Sharice brought up a good point. We need to heal as people before we can talk forgiveness. I know you addressed healing, but this is something that's very real and present for a lot of people. So I just want to make sure we're giving space and allowing for that.
We're not forcing anybody to engage in forgiveness talks. That's not the work that I'm speaking of. The forgiveness is something that I do for myself, so that I can maintain sanity. Jesus did it. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. It is the discharging of the poison from your own being. I let go of the poison. I don't choose to hold on to this poison hoping that they would die. So the unforgiveness is holding on to a poison, hoping that someone else will die because you've taken the poison. So forgiveness is the discharging of your need to hold the poison.
And that applies to, well, let me ask you, does that apply to white people also, who may be feeling a sense of guilt and shame, consciously or unconsciously? Does that apply for them also?
I think absolutely. I think that whites also need to forgive themselves, but also move into position to act out that forgiveness. Act out. Let me give you a case in point so that you see what I'm talking about, because this stuff has real world application. Part of my South Africa trip, I had the opportunity to also participate in an event with Ela Gandhi's granddaughter, and a young man, his last name is Verwoerd, can't remember his first name, but Verwoerd or Verwoerd, whose grandfather was the architect of apartheid. And of course, as the grandson of the architect of apartheid in South Africa, he was certainly a beneficiary of all the privilege that comes with living in a world that is based on white supremacy and Black inferiority. And so the minute he had an opportunity to get free, he made it his life's work to dismantle everything that his grandfather put in place. And so on that panel, he was sitting with the granddaughter of Gandhi. And as you know, Gandhi was outside of his own issues. We don't want to bring all that up.
Right.
Gandhi ultimately was instrumental in leading a movement that liberated India from Europe, right?
Right.
And so, but there were effects remaining in South Africa that the grandson had said, you know what, I can't live inside of the guilt, but I am going to advance this truth forward, and I'm going to use my life and my voice to deconstruct, to make forgiveness not merely an ideological concept and this private thing that I did with myself. You're going to see my forgiveness turn into acts of repentance, acts of repentance, acts of truth and reconciliation, acts of reparation. All of these things are how you show that you wish to be forgiven for these acts. And so the young man was sitting with Ela Gandhi in doing that work together. So I think that that potential rests. There are whites who know that their families, the wealth of their families came directly from slave labor, that you can trace the companies and the banks that exist today, that whose wealth was amassed through holding slaves, and how trust funds are based out of some of the dirtiest money that could have been created on the planet. All right, now that you're a beneficiary, what are you going to do in order to transmute the legacy that was ill-gotten into something that will be productive for humankind? And so that's what many of our white brothers and sisters can be thinking about in this moment. How does forgiveness look, and how does it translate into moments like this? There's nothing like a white son or daughter walking into a room where their powerful father or mother who holds tremendous influence, and they make some demands. Remember the Children's March? Okay. Little white kids got together and said, y'all don't want to stand for it? I'm not going. And they took it on, and they made influences with their parents and their grandparents and generations who are stuck in the old paradigm. And so that's the beauty of it.
And the old paradigm also is an over focus upon the destruction of property and businesses, which obviously is horrific for many. But again, it's placing the value of things and material over the value of a human life, particularly a Black and brown one.
What I say to those individuals who are tone policing right now, that's what we call tone policing, telling the oppressed how to act out their oppression. So you're telling someone who has historically lived with the societal knee on neck, that's the relationship, who is now seeking to be liberated from that condition. You're saying, here's how it ought to go.
Exactly.
Don't join in with that. That form of tone policing. That is another subtle form of white supremacy.
Absolutely.
It is about people, not property. It is about people, not property. I tell you what, here's the deal I make with those that make those statements. You bring me my people back. You bring me my people back. You bring just one of them back, and I'll start talking about property. But until you can restore the lives that have been stolen, I don't want to hear about your property at all. That's not my business. Have nothing to do with my freedom or the freedom of us as a people, as a whole humanity. Our priorities are thrown off. Bring one back. Bring one back. So what I want to hear from my white counterparts is, oh my God, I don't even know. It's horrible that they did that to that. They murdered that man in plain sight. I stand with you in your grief, your deep grief and pain around seeing what happened. Don't talk to me about rioters. I don't want to hear about that. That is a distraction from this journey across time for people who have been crying out for freedom for over 500 years. So it's not about property. It's never about property. That's a distraction. That's an adaptation and adoption to language. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., when we lift up his nonviolent direct action strategies, he was never concerned with that. He had a philosophy in moving forward violently, but he did not stop. I heard someone say, why don't you stop those individuals Why don't you have the protesters to stop the provocateurs from looting and rioting?
Right.
So we're going to add another tax to the oppressed.
Exactly.
As they seek and to pursue that's not their role right now. Their role is to continue to call out for freedom and to correct and right age-old wrongs, not to be distracted in the thick of thin things. The thick of thin things. This is about the transformation of humanity as we know it, starting here in the United States and then distributing this consciousness throughout the planet.
Yes, yes.
And I believe it's possible. I wouldn't be talking to you if I didn't believe it was possible.
And I think every ounce of what you're saying is resonating with all of us on a deep, deep level. Lauren has something that she wanted to express. My white friend asked me to make her understand how I feel. After explaining as much as I could, I told her, now that you have the knowledge, go and tell your people, fix what you can, and use your platform to change your peers, which is a great sentiment, because I was in conversation, interestingly, with another African-American woman on Instagram, and I wish I would have connected with her more, because she was essentially upset at a white woman who said, I want to understand, I want to learn more, I want to research, I want to understand. And I applauded that. I actually thought that was a step in the right direction. This particular woman felt as if, well, you've had, a lot of time to understand, and it's not on me to teach you, so go off and do it yourself, which I get that too. So, and look, I understand that Black people and people of color are exhausted. These are things that we live with in our soul and in the depths of who we are. So it's exhausting to teach. And I'm also, I thrive in sunlight, and I like to water and nurture what's present. And I saw an earnest desire to know. So that was my choice at that time. And I'll continue to do so as long as I have the emotional bandwidth to do it. But I just wanted your thoughts on that too. I think that was Lauren's point. What do we say? Is it on us to teach and help them, or is it now their turn to pick up the baton of racial?
All of my comments today have been brought to you by love. I want to start so that everybody can, white, Black, and every other
right.
expressing, all of them have been brought to you by love. This is the core out of which I speak. I'll give you a context. I was doing a Black History service here at Unity of Sacramento. We're literally in the International Sanctuary. I can't show much, but I love it. On this campus, and I have a diverse and integrated congregation, very reflective, like the UN, and the reflective of the population here in Sacramento. So we're very diverse. And I have several white teachers at the time who I wanted to participate in the Black History celebration. And so I called them in. I said, okay, so each week in Black History Month, we're going to lift up a powerful avatar and luminary and exemplar of African American history. And I want each one of you to take on one of those and be prepared to make a presentation on Sunday morning. And the room just got cold. It's like, whoa. And somebody had the audacity to ask the question. Well, Rev Kev, wait a minute. How are the Black people going to feel? Should that be ours to do? Should it be ours to do the report on the Black history and Black History Month?
Wow. And
I leaned in. I said, that you have a problem with that speaks to the fact as to why you must do it. We've been doing reports on Abraham Lincoln and Sir Isaac Newton and everybody on the planet who is not Black. Our entire education is rooted in that. It is time to normalize excellence. And so, yes, educate yourself. Educate yourself. Empower yourself. It's something you can do. Get a reading list. Find out about Black studies. Understand the struggle that we're moving. This is something you can do with all of the access to information that's available today. Absolutely educate yourself so that you can speak the language. That's all culture is access to language.
Yes.
Language.
Yes.
And I can't speak the language if I don't study. We have had to, in this country, be bilingual and trilingual just to survive. I know how to speak.
Yes.
In such a way in order to have acceptance in this room and in the next room. We call it code switching. I think you were saying that. Have you learned code switch? Have you learned the code switch so that you can connect to the heartbeat of your Black brothers and sisters? This is something that you can do for free. So yes, in addition to, I want you to just unpack it for you, beloved white brothers and sisters. In addition to, fighting for our freedom, we got that to work with. Right. In addition to trying to fit into a society that has systemically said that what we look like, the way we appear, makes us somehow second-class citizen or inferior. In addition to that, in addition to the battles that we have around income inequality and all the other struggles, and then watching racialized trauma, in addition to that, you also want us to stop and now educate you on how to relate to us. It might be a bit much because this is clearly something you can do for yourself. You know how I know? Because we've had to do it our entire existence. Our entire sojourn on these shores. And you know, when Black people are together and we talk to each other, we don't talk the same way that we talk when we are talking around you.
You don't, and you know what? I'm more conscious and mindful of that. You know, I'll talk with a little slang that I'll talk, or I won't have an ing, and I'm embracing that. Like, you know what? I can show up how I show up in this world.
And Asian Americans don't do it, and Latino Americans don't do it. We all have this duplicitousness. But this moment that we're in right now is calling for us to show up 100%. No holds barred, out loud as we are, because this is self-liberation. And when I can liberate myself, being totally free to be me in whatever space I find myself in, I start cracking the historical framework. Keeps us suppressed and oppressed, and it liberates everybody else. It's like taking the bra off.
Let it go.
Take it off. Hallelujah. It's me.
The topic right there. Your mission doesn't need permission. Our mission as a people, we no longer need permission. We don't need it individually. We don't need it culturally. We don't need it for humanity. And there's space for all of us. So yes. That's
it. And it's all right. And guess what? I'm still gonna love you. I'm still gonna be there. I'm gonna still be me. And you don't have to be afraid of my anger. You don't have to be afraid of my raw emotion. That's not my anger has nothing to do with your set of emotions. It has to do with how I'm processing a very challenging situation, a very oppressive situation. Okay. Now, if we love each other, we're in a relationship, you want to reach out and you want to support me through it in the same way that I would do for you, because this is called being fully human. It's called, that's all it is. And that we have the PhD in this, it's thanks to you. It's thanks to you. But it's not that we wanted this. We would want the honorary doctorate in this.
Right.
You know, we would want the earned doctorate in suffering and oppression.
Right.
So it just so happens that we got more lived experience, but this is an American issue. It's never been our issue. It's never been ours.
I mean, in the DNA
of a set of conditions that were created. And those that created it have a great responsibility, especially in this moment, to uncreate it.
Create it. Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's a deep call, deep upon deep, calling upon itself to heal it, which is why you see our brothers and sisters, various hues and orientations coming together, because it's transcendent of the skin color and the melanin, the pigmentation. It goes to the heart and soul and the spirit of what it is to be a spiritual being wearing these human earth cases that we're wrapped in, expressing and engaging and dialoguing with each other. So the time is now. We have a couple of comments. Are there some questions for Rev Kev? Lauren said, this is true, but that time is no more, Lauren. We have always made to feel like we must mute ourselves. Absolutely. That's part of the permission. We don't need it.
I want to just offer this thought for our white brothers and sisters and our black brothers and sisters and people of all races. And here's what I want to share. I want you to assume that you can handle the truth. You can handle the truth, and you must handle the truth, because in this moment, we're not going to stop speaking the truth. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. You can handle the truth. And maybe that becomes your new mantra. I can handle the truth. I can handle truth. Because our job is to speak our truth in this moment in an unrelenting fashion and make demands accordingly. Your job is to also receive truth and act in accordance with the truth that you now know, for the elevation and the evolution of humanity. Period. For all of our freedom.
I love that. And I want to punctuate something as we wind this down. Actually, my battery life is dying. Kachi has something that's really powerful here. And he said, Jewish people say never forget. Words of people have to forward forgiveness, but never forget. Remember, the system is an engine designed to depress and devalue melanated people. We must solidify who we are as people in entertainment and all sources of media. If the dynamics of the American construct don't change, we will be fueling the same engine that has throughout history oppressed us.
And I completely understand that sentiment, and I want to ask my brother from the Jewish community to get on the line in this moment and leverage your history, leverage your brothers and sisters in this moment to start rowing this boat so that we can crack the back of this system that we are so convinced cannot be broken down. We have witnessed historically civilizations rise and fall, and we're in the moment. If we come together, we do not have to believe the hype. We don't have to believe the hype anymore. When we're all woke, when we're all consciously awake and rowing in the same direction toward our freedom. See, it's going to be white folks' freedom as well. It's going to be everybody's freedom. But we have to believe that. We have to believe beyond a shadow of a doubt that that is possible. And so I want us to come out of our little enclaves and our little ways in which we lock ourselves apart from each other. I want you to come and call your Jewish community to the front lines in this, especially because you understand what this pain is. You know it uniquely. Let's lean in together. We've always done it together. Let's do more of this work together. It's our time.
It is definitely our time. My mother, I think she put this comment a while ago. I'm just now seeing it. Who we love, Rev Ross, Rev Kev, no relation, y'all. Until you resurrect a life, you cannot compare the loss of life with the loss of property. Yes, and that's the kind of the theme that is undergirding all of this, that we have value here, and we're not asking for permission. We are going forth, as I said, liberating ourselves, and none of us are free until all of us are free. So I just want to end, because I think we can wrap it up. This has been such a soul-fulfilling conversation with the meditation I don't know if your tea's still hot, Rev Kev, but this conversation certainly is.
It's about lukewarm. I got a sip left. So it made it. It made it.
I heard you say really hit me in my spirit when you talked about the untimely ancestors through racialized violence. And I just want to end in honoring Floyd and all the names that we know and that we don't know, because that's really what we're calling upon, that ancestral wisdom and history that I think is, in my opinion, is guiding this moment and ultimately will be our transformation and our healing. So I don't know if you have a final thought on that, and you guys drop your last questions or comments for us before we wrap out. But as you've been feeding us, I just love your thought on that.
I just want everyone, as we move through this moment, to always envision those ancestors who have been lost and created by racialized violence. I want you to feel their presence, leaning over the balconies of eternity, standing as witnesses to this moment and cheering us on into our greater becoming. Those of African descent, those of Jewish descent, those of Indian descent, those of Asian descent, those of Native American descent. Those ancestors peek over the balconies of eternity, cheering us on in this moment, rooting for us, and they are the wind at our backs, never absent from us. Their power is transmuted into our resilience. And behold them with us as the wind beneath our wings, as we take on the battles that lie ahead. That's my thought. If we can just see that.
Whew. Tea dropped. That is everything. I felt that. I feel that. I hope that you all do as well. This has been such a powerful and timely and needed conversation, Rev Kev. I'm so grateful to you for answering the call. When I called you up, I said, Rev, I need you. And I think we all needed this, for you to speak and give voice to something we've all know in the very core of our DNA as humans. And there she is. There's Audrey Harris. She said, this was a great show.
Thank you, beloved.
Cherie said, awesome. Love this. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Akachi, I was trying to find a comment that you made. That might be part 2. We're going to have to do part 2 of this, Rev Kev, okay?
Find the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything that you wanted to say as we sign off?
I just want everybody to know that you are enough, just as you are. You're already equipped with what you need for this moment. You and I decided to show up at this particular time in human history for such a time as this. And as we catch a vision of a world that works for all, as we catch vision, the Spirit will make provisions. Trust that. Trust that. Lean in it like never before. Play your part so that future generations will be talking about other things. We'll be talking about the obsolete world that their parents discarded and the path that we opened up so that they can explore the outer space. They can explore, conversations from the vantage point of their giftedness. It's our time. It's go time. Let's go. Let's go.
Thank you, Rev Kev. Thank you, everyone. Please share this far and wide. Thanks to those who'll be watching this on the replay. I'm so moved. Thank you. Thank you all. Thanks, Rev Kev.
You got it.
I'll see you in the next one. All right. Bye-bye.
See you guys soon. Big hug, big air hugs for you. And
I'm going to follow my Instagram and Facebook. I'm going to put all of Rev Kev's information there because he has a lot to say and share. So thank you. All righty.
Peace and blessings, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Can't wait to see you all again. Big hugs, big hugs. Give mom my love. I
will. My mom just made a comment. So we'll sign off because we could do this all day. But
all right.
Catch the vision, the spirit will make provision. Absolutely. Bye, you guys. See you next time.
All right.